Hi, good morning, friends. Greetings from Talresco, Malaysia. My name is Joe Moraes. We are a HR consultancy firm. Our series, Putting the Tea in the Truth, continues. Today, I have with me a very beautiful person, Miss Malar, Managing Director of Hearts&Minds, whom I have known for the past 20 years. Malar is very well known for her ability to touch people's hearts, a staunch advocate of matters of the heart. Today, we are blessed to have Malar to talk to us about emotional intelligence, a subject that is particularly of a lot of interest to me myself. Malar, over to you for a few words before we start the session.
Thank you, Joe. You've said all the nice things, so now I need to keep up to all the nice things that you've said to me on screen. I'll do my best. You know, on one hand, you've said very nice things, and on the other hand, you've advertised that the tea in your organization is the truth. So we'll have to find a peaceful combination. All right. Now, motivation is a safe professional word. All right. But deeper than motivation, so you have the emotion that tells you your drive, which is your motivation. If you understand your motivation, you will understand what your values are.
Right.
When you understand your values, you begin to connect to your purpose. From who am I as to why am I the way I am, and what do I want to serve. All right. And of course, we call this your calling. Right. Now, what has that got to do with organizations? Because in organizations, I think we need to understand whether you are joining an organization for career perspective or because it's your call.
Great. I think, Malar, you almost covered all the questions I had in mind, actually. Right. One last one, actually. You know, when we interview candidates, to hire, all of us have a set question, tell me about yourself, what is your plan in 5 years from now? The guy doesn't even know what is his plan 5 minutes from now, but we'll be asking him about 5 years from now. Why are you leaving your present company? Why do you want to join us? Very structured. And of course, we would have some technical questions as well to ensure that there's an intelligent person that we are having. How do we fit in all of these questions, all the structure that we already have? Every company has got different types of questions they want to ask. How do we find out the emotional intelligence level of a person while doing an interview? So I'm not saying that you come up with another set of questions. It doesn't make sense. Right? But emotional intelligence is something that you can observe in a person's character, the way the person is talking about something. Like, for example, you talked about passion. The passion coming out. So what would be maybe 2 or 3 tips that you can give hiring managers or HR managers for them to look out for when they are actually doing an interview?
Okay. You know why I'm laughing? Because I'm going to say something naughty. First and foremost, I want to know whether the hiring manager got emotional intelligence or not.
Okay, actually, that's a good point too. I've actually sat in with interviewing managers who totally, intimidating. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, again, intimidation. So for me, the intention of your structure is very important, right? So you are somebody, so I hear from my friends. I mean, nobody employs me, so I've not been for many interviews. Right. So, yeah, but I hear from people, my participants, right, how to prepare for an interview. Or I sit in webinars that tells you how to get ready for an interview. So as an interviewer, if you have structured question, I will also plan for my structured answers.
Exactly. That's what's happening now.
Yeah. So I think the interviewer or the recruiter, one has to be the right person. So does the interviewer have enough maturity and experience to observe and pick up the cues? Do they really know what they're looking for? I think most of the time in recruitment, what I've seen is that people don't know. We are filling up numbers. We're not filling up talent, right?
Very true.
Right? And talent is people who are talented, all right, in terms of result, it's 2 to 10 times more. That's why we pay attention to talent. But talent also comes in with them paying attention to only their strength. So if you're fitting a job description to a person, how do you optimize talent? And that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? Right? So I think there's a lot of, first, at a structural level, we're not thinking properly. Right? I'm not too sure that the recruiter actually knows, because now you need to also understand, if you're a recruiter, now whether you have emotional intelligence, number one, whether you understand who you're recruiting for your client as to the hiring manager. Do you know? So you can be emotionally intelligent, but your hiring manager got no emotions. Then you better find one fellow with no emotions or no emotional intelligence. Right? So I think there are a couple of things that comes together then to say that, oh, because Harvard Business Review says that, you need to hire emotionally intelligent people, I'm going to hire someone who's emotionally intelligent. I don't think so. So number one. Yeah, so that's number one. Now, if you look at just the 4 or 5 quadrants that I'm talking about, what I would ask you to look up for is that if you know what is the job function as to how much of what is required, how much of awareness is required in this job. Okay? Now, sometimes your job doesn't require awareness. A lot of times we are hiring robots, right?
I'm sorry, Malar. If you relate that question to customer service people, would that be the same advice?
Again, customer service, whether you actually mean customer service, because if you look at call centers now, right? I'll tell you, I'm with the bank, right? And I I only have one credit card, so I love them. But it is unfortunate. In the last more than 5 years, I've been faithful to them. I have one problem, which is I cannot receive one-time PIN on my mobile. And they still haven't resolved it. All right. Okay. Now, so when you talk about customer service, right? Now, when I complain to the customer service person, she gives me a very good experience. She said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, what can I do?" And now, before they ask me the question, I will tell them I've answered this question for the last 5 years. Check my recording and then ask me different questions.
Okay.
Then I'll answer them. All right. Okay. Now, so our customer service people, so these customer service people, I believe they're emotionally intelligent, number one. But you see, they might be emotionally intelligent, but they're not empowered. It's not an emotionally intelligent culture, right? So on one hand, you can say customer service, we solve customers' problem. But do you have processes to truly empower your customers? Right?
So that's the word context then.
Yeah, and now, so what happens is that, so if you look at a scale, so I think in any of EQ competency, there's a scale. There's an appropriate scale, which is what I will call optimal level, right? But with optimal level, there are people who are, it's like driving. Malaysian highway, you drive at 110, optimal, okay? But we all know we do 120, 130, 140, depending on your confidence level. Or we can go 80, 90, depending on your confidence level and also your car condition and many other factors, right? So there are factors in it. So I think one is you need to see whether the person has EQ abilities. Is the person aware? So you ask question for awareness.
Okay.
All right. How do you know the person is aware? So if you ask the person, tell me about one of your weakness, right? Of course, the person is prepared because they ask this question in most
Yeah.
interviews, right? But what you need to do is you need to interrupt and ask for an example as to how they've applied it in their life.
Right. That's a good tip.
All right?
That's
Because one person can have knowledge, but I want to know whether the person is able to apply it, which is skills,
okay.
right? Because you're measuring attitude in an interview, and a lot of people have put on attitude, right? Yeah. I mean,
They
we
can
learn.
always.
Yeah, we all learn. We all do this for survival's sake, right? We have created organizations that tells you if you come in as a candidate, this is what I expect of you, right? And because I'm going to judge based on that, yeah, right. So I'm not blaming the individual. So self-awareness, self-management is you look at if the person talks about the weakness. For example, we need someone who's patient in this job, customer service, right? And tell me about a time that you have lost your temper,
Okay.
right?
So that's quite a common question anyway. Okay.
Yeah. And I want to know how you managed it. Now, if this person comes from a customer service background and I know the person is going to have a structured answer, I will say, so tell me, how do you deal with your anger in your personal life?
Excellent.
I might ask that question, right? So that's a self-management question. Then social awareness, right?
Okay.
Social awareness is how do you, for example, if I'm interviewing somebody, I'll say, how do you think people are going through COVID? Can you tell me how you'll be impacted by this emotionally?
Okay.
Right? So you can ask a current question to see how much they're taking in emotions around them. Right?
From a social perspective.
Yeah, social perspective and relationship management. So tell me one of the difficult customers that you have dealt with and you have won over, right? Now, I'll also ask them to talk about, tell me a difficult customer whom you have faced and you have lost them. And if you could do something differently, what would you do differently now?
Okay, good one. That's a good one. Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
I cover all the four.
Yeah, I think okay. So basically, I think the inputs that you gave just now for hiring managers and recruitment managers, that's actually excellent because I realized when you were talking about it, all of those questions are actually in almost all interview questions, but it is normally done as a almost like a ceremony. So what's your strength? The guy says his strength, and then you move on. You don't really get into to find out the emotional intelligence that person actually has. I think those were excellent tips, Malar. It will help a lot of people who are going to listen into this. I think. One thing I want, one last, I guess. Oh, it's almost 40 minutes. I'm going to finish after this question. Now, we spoke about emotional intelligence. What can somebody do if they want to measure their emotional intelligence level, right? I think you can share, and because I want people who are listening to this, please remember this, guys. If you want to get into emotional intelligence and train your people or do that evaluation, feel free to contact Malar and her team. Contact us. We will put you through, and we can work together to make this, a successful place that where you're working. Uh, I'll just come back to the last question. How can they measure the emotional intelligence of their team members or themselves?
Right. Of course, I think if you Google, you will see there are many assessment tools out there.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is, if you are hiring, you want to know why EQ is a part is an important competency in the job, right? So I think that has to be clear, and based on that, you need to pick a tool that works for your organization, for your output. Okay, the one that we are very passionate about is known as Flow Profiler. And I'm saying this now because we are going to run some free webinars soon, right? So the work of flow, right? Flow means actually it's when you are living an optimal life. So this is based on a study as to what it means to different individuals, on what it means to be in flow. That means you're just going through life very well at an optimal level, right? And we do that. So what we do is so in this flow profiler, we measure three what we call factors: EQ, emotional intelligence, per se, in the quadrants. We measure motivation, and we measure resilience. Okay, and they all interact with each other. All right, because I think one of the things about assessment which scares me is that I think we get very caught up with labels.
Yes.
All right, because you might think that, oh, Malar said there are 5 pillars to EQ, and Daniel Goleman said there are 18 competencies. So as long as people meet these 18 competencies, they are emotionally intelligent. I don't think it is as simple as that. But we know that people who are emotionally intelligent are motivated. People who are emotionally intelligent are resilient. People who are emotionally intelligent are successful in the long run, not in the short run. All right? People who are emotionally intelligent also lead a very purpose-centric life. So when you talk about emotional intelligence, I think you need to talk about the big picture and then zoom into what is necessary now, number one. Number two, what I also realize about a tool is that someone can be overly emotionally intelligent. For example, empathy, right? Just last one, right? I just found out there's this thing called empathy, right? So empathy is being able to put yourself in another person's shoe. Very good. But when you have too much of empathy, can there be too much? Yes, there can be too little, we know. You don't feel, right? There is the right amount, but when there's too much of empathy, you begin to feel like the other person and you just empower yourself. Right? So when you employ somebody and you look at empathy and this fellow is 10 over 10 over empathy, that's a dangerous sign. It can be a positive sign. If you want the person to bring in compassion, this person is going to be your walking heart of the organization. He or she is going to tell you how everybody is feeling, which is good input, right? Yeah. But so also know that this person is going to suffer a lot when he or she sees suffering in other people. And that's not the time you go and say, mind your own business, cut away, disconnect. You see a lot of this because empaths will not know how to do that. So if you are hiring somebody who's at 10, you need to now say, I will say, I rather go for someone who's at 10 than to hire somebody at 4.
Okay.
But when I hire a person at 10, I will now take this person and develop this person with some discipline as to how to bring it down. So I want a person with high driving skills, right? Great driving skills. I know you're very good, and I know that you drive at 160. Now, you're very good. I'm going to tell you when it's okay to be at 160 and when it's important and crucial to be at 110.
Good example.
So you need to show the person and connect it to the person's purpose. Because someone who's an empath is high on compassion. You need to tell them why 110 is the right compassion. A lot of managers cannot explain that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So actually, that's an interesting point. So what I hear from you, what you're saying is that people out there who are listening to this discussion or talk, I think you should approach Malar, who is actually a SME subject matter expert in this, and you could start doing a little bit of measurement about you, your co-workers, and so that you understand your people a lot better when you deal with that, instead of stereotyping your behavior. So, you know what, Malar, I'm not going to hold you back any longer. It has been excellent talking to you. It's such a simple topic, but it's so well explained by you. I must thank you for, taking up my request to talk about this. Hopefully, we can have more and more, series on this or maybe other topics. But for now, thank you so much. Everybody, stay safe, be blessed. Malar, your last word.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I must thank you that you were one of those decision makers who gave me my first few breaks when nobody else believed in my dreams,
Yeah,
as to how I believed that I could change the world. So I'll never forget you, or I'll always remember you, because
yeah,
you believed in me when I was just learning. Yeah? And you're a very good example, because today, it's lovely to hear when you say I'm good, not for any reason, but I had many people like you who gave me, who was just a new work in progress,
mm,
to keep
okay.
polishing myself. And I think that is the opportunity that you need to give people who are serious about their own talent. So thank you, Joe. And I'm so happy I
Excellent.
get to say this publicly.
Then, yeah, this is going to be fun, and yeah, okay. So let's thank you very much again, and hopefully we will have another series. For
Thank,
now, bye bye from Talresco and Hearts.
thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.